Hello everyone, welcome back to this video. My name is Kavi Sheikh, I'm a medical student, and this channel is all about giving other people hope through better communication in the field of medicine. So today I'm talking about my last night shift actually, they call it being on call. Last Saturday night was my last night shift. We have today Tuesday, we had a day shift with few new things. I had to suture someone. We were trying to get some central lines in one patient, which was quite frustrating. It ended very well and we could get it in. Not me, it was another doctor, but he had his chance and he really did it very, very well. So to me, as I said, last Saturday night, like being on call, it was very, very how do I put it in? It was just like a very rush hour during the whole night, because here in South Africa, especially here in Johannesburg, people are getting paid at the end of the month, like everywhere else in the world. After they get many people, not everyone, but many people, after they get their payment at the end of the month, they normally start drinking. And once they start consuming so much alcohol, they start, or it's not the real cause, it's not causing it that, but it has a big correlation that people who are getting drunk here in South Africa or Johannesburg in general are getting much more violent. So that's something that happens here a lot, especially at the weekend day, especially from Friday to Saturday, because they're partying or going drinking elsewhere at the Friday evening, and the crime rate are increasing at the Saturday or Saturday morning, even in the next night until even Sunday night. And I was at the last Saturday night, and it was a whole mess. So many people came in, a whole stream of new patients who were getting stabbed or beaten down or getting shot. There are so many people who were injured, and we have the task to treat them, of course. Biggest challenge to me was the big amount of stream of new patients who are coming in. That was my biggest challenge, because there were so many people, and after the time you lost the overview about so many people, and you lost track of the background history of those patients. It was quite difficult. I had the chance to suture so many patients. I did at least finally my first ICD. It was quite happy. I was quite happy, quite excited. I really needed to put my finger in his lung cavity, and it was quite interesting to get your whole pinky finger in the lung, as you wanted to say, of a whole other person. It was quite difficult to push through the fornix, but it went very, very well. After helping out a bit at the recess, I was working most of the time at the pit, where I was taking over some patient, just asking them about the history, what happened to them, and just trying to help them, like bring to the X-ray or the CT to find out what actually is the problem of them. And there are some sad stories that you really need to face here, and I just want to share two of them. One tragic story was about a man who got hit by several guys, one with a bottle on his left side, like this, very with whole power through his left side, and he told me that he really was starting bleeding out from his left ear and from his left nose. So that was the indication, and of course he lost of conscious. That's the main reason why we did the CT afterwards. It took some time. It's not like in Germany or somewhere else in the first world country where you get a CT immediately, or at least very fast. And here you need to book it, have a schedule and like an appointment, so to speak. Then you send your patient over at the right time, and then they get a CT. The big problem was that night we had so many patients, so many people who needed a CT. So those patients who aren't really in the really sickest state, or not very acute, or are not on the edge of dying, then they could wait. So they waited a long time, even like some people waited until 7 o'clock in the morning of the next Sunday. So many people waited, and the people from the resus, like this is the area where people who are much worse are lying, they got an appointment or a schedule for CT bit earlier, but not so much earlier. And those from the pit who could walk and are not in such bad or worse state, they needed to wait. And that's the same goes for my patient. He needed to wait until the next morning, and after that I went and didn't know anything what happened then. But kind of tragic that people are getting beaten, hit, or shot, stabbed just randomly, without any correlation, without any connections to those attackers, and it's very sad to hear. And the most sad story that I really had to face at that night was a woman who just got beaten up by several men, and her whole face was swollen up. You couldn't see her right eye. Her right eye was so swollen. Her face on the sides was very big. It was a whole circle. And every time I were trying to talk about what happened to her, she obviously started to be anxious and to start crying, and really was frustrated about her situation, which I really get. I really get it. It was a very traumatizing thing, and those are some stories that you need to face here every day. And after the time what they see, sometimes people are getting like unsensitized about those stories. And to me, what I take with me or learn about this is having empathy straight through the day or through the night, and to really give the people the care they need first, medically, and of course on an emotional level, to give them the feeling, hey, what happened, we need to move on, and try to fix you up. Give the feeling of there are people who still care for them, and there are people who really can take care of them. And these problems are not problems that can solve like in a minute or so, but it can be solved medically, and maybe with social workers. I don't know how the whole system works here. Can help them out in the long run. So those are the stories. There's just a few. There are so much more that I want to share. That maybe in the next video. But that was my first payday night, or payday Saturday night, and it was quite a busy night, the busiest night I ever had. But I never felt so, I don't know. It's like a feeling like, as long as I don't have the big responsibility like a full doctor over there, it's not something like really pressuring me, or a big pressure that really hurts me or is bothering me. It was like, hey, it's something I never seen before, not in this amount and this volume. It was really nice to experience and help out. I really had patients like those I already mentioned, where I was in charge of. And at the morning I was the one who presented them to the consultant or the attending doctor, and they were patient with me. So that's something that I'm really grateful about. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for staying here. If you want to hear some more stories, just like this video, subscribe, or share it with somebody else you want to share with. It's up to you. Thank you very much.